Properties of electrical materials, as we know, is section number 5 of the FE electrical specification. Interestingly, since the revision they made in 2020, they incorporated semiconductor materials as part of properties of electrical materials. But as you guys know, working through the big 5 topics, when we encounter electronics, we deal with all of these items related to semiconductor materials as part of electronics, which is, I think, in my opinion, a little bit more helpful, because then the flow with the p-n junction, diode and Zener diode, and all of that leads to transistors, BJTs, and MOSFETs. It is a little bit more interesting and easier to follow. Nevertheless, whether they ask questions within properties of electrical materials or electronics, as far as the knowledge items are concerned, we need to be able to tackle tunneling, diffusion, drift current, energy bands, doping bands, p-n theory. Again, most of this is discussed in electronics within my coursework, and even in the live training, we deal with them as part of electronics. Now, when it comes to the formulas and the equations, you need to be a little bit careful with regards to this, because first of all, the symbols, we don't use these variables as often. And the other issue is that when we're dealing with the unit measurement, the values have a lot of prefixes, right? They're very small quantities, 10 raised to power this, 10 raised to power that. And the units of measurement are also kind of weird, volts per meter, and you might have coulombs there as well, Boltzmann constant. So you need to be extremely, extremely careful. As far as what an energy band is, what a doping band is, the p-n theory, when you connect the p-type and the n-type material together, there's a barrier that's formed, and then the drift velocity, what is the difference between diffusion current and then the drift current, tunneling, all of that. I would recommend that you at least have a very fundamental understanding, at least to the level that I've explained within the course. Okay. And these form bases of electronics. That's where it's covered in detail. So if anything, you can consider it as a good review for electronics, because we've dealt in the live training program with electronics upfront, and you may want to go back to semiconductor materials as a refresher within properties of electrical materials. Okay. Then we have electrical properties. To be honest, that's the major chunk of properties of electrical materials, section number 5. We have conductivity, which is the opposite of or reciprocal of resistivity. We have conductance, which is the opposite or reciprocal of resistance. We have permittivity, and then we have magnetic permeability. Now, there are a lot of parallels between these quantities. Sometimes they're similar sounding as well. The units of measurement are different. You need to understand the differences, the similarities in terms of their application with respect to the base devices. What I mean by base devices are these passive elements. You have resistors, capacitors, and inductors. What are active elements, guys? You guys know what is the difference between passive elements and active elements? Passive elements are the ones that are able to respect and follow what? Ohm's law. The direct relationship between V and R, okay? When it comes to active elements, non-linear elements, right? Actually, linear and non-linear is actually even a better choice of words. You have transistors, right? You have diodes, you have op-amps, which don't necessarily always, they have certain regions of operation where they do, but they also have other regions of operation where they don't, okay? Another interesting thing to remember about capacitors specifically is that they behave differently as compared to resistors and inductors when they're in series and parallel. So when we add resistors in series, R1 plus R2 plus R3 is equal to the total series arrangement, right? And in parallel, we have the reciprocal formula, 1 over R total is equal to 1 over R1 plus 1 over R2 plus 1 over R3. And same goes for inductors in terms of their inductances. But that's not true for capacitors, right? Capacitors, when they're connected in parallel, they behave like resistors and inductors in series. And when the capacitors are connected in series, they behave like inductors and resistors in parallel. So, and we have several practice problems in the on-demand course. So just be mindful of that. And try to relate these concepts to Maxwell's equations. This is where I'm sort of setting you up for even electromagnetics. And that's why we deal with electromagnetics and properties of electrical materials in the same session. And the boundaries are kind of blurry, because when you look at the tab in the reference handbook with electrical and computer engineering, they don't make a distinction that this is properties of electrical materials or this is, your electromagnetics is starting from here. So what I mean by, Maxwell equations in the context of electrical properties is that understand how actually Gauss's law works. And we've looked at that application in a lot of depth in the live training, where in terms of divergence, when you look at the electric charge, right, if there's an electric charge that is contained in a black box, right, and if you're trying to capture how many lines are radiating away from it, right, that will be proportional to the total amount of charge that is contained here. But if I put a black box and I put a magnet inside it, so all the magnetic field lines that are emitting from the radiating from the north pole, they are just going to converge on the south pole. So from the standpoint of this black box, there's no divergence, there's no radiation. Even if, let's say, there's some lines that are radiating, they will come back and they will converge on the south pole, right? So at this level of detail, when you look at the Gauss's law, when you look at the Faraday's law, when you look at the Ampere's law, like we did in the program, it will help you understand the concepts much, much better, and you won't have to rely on memorization. Okay, so electrical properties, extremely important. They're going to make a showing in show up again in circuit analysis and electronics. Obviously, you can see that there's a ton of content, very fundamental concepts, and linear systems and power systems, obviously. So that's why it's important that we get a good handle on them. Okay, and then we have thermal properties. This is by far the lightest topic within this section, in my opinion. There are just two equations that we need to get a good handle on. One relates to the thermal expansion, the strain equation, okay, which can be applied or looked at from a mechanical standpoint as well, right? The example I gave you guys in the program was that of railroad tracks. They actually leave a little bit of a distance between railroad tracks, and that's how the expansion is taken care of. So there's nothing electrical really about it. As far as electrical aspect is concerned, we have the equation that tells us that resistance is directly proportional to the change in temperature, and that's where the thermal expansion coefficient comes into play. And the same equation applies for P and rho. Rho is the resistivity, right? So the greater the change in temperature, the greater the increase or decrease in the resistivity and resistance. So one of the things that I find students making mistake when it comes to thermal expansion is the unit of measurement for temperature coefficient. It is simply reciprocal of whatever the unit of measurement for the temperature is, right? So if the temperature is given in Celsius, it's just going to be Celsius or centigrade inverse. If the temperature is given in Fahrenheit, it's going to be Fahrenheit inverse. If the temperature is given in Kelvin, it's going to be Kelvin inverse. So to make your life a little bit difficult, what I can do is that I can give you the change in temperature or the temperature in Celsius, for instance, and the temperature coefficient would have can have, Fahrenheit inverse, right? So don't just simply multiply the quantities out. You would have to change one of them, right? And the easier way to look at it is that, you can change either one of them, because at the end of the day, when they get multiplied, they'll have to cancel out. So either change this guy into centigrade or change this guy into Fahrenheit. Okay, it's common sense, but I see students making mistake on this. So when you take a step back, look at properties of electrical materials. Yes, there are concepts within properties of electrical materials, which if an examiner wants, they can make it difficult for you, especially given the fact that there's no limit to essentially, if I want to test your understanding on what is the net capacitance of a circuit that contains multiple capacitors, I can actually test you on a spaghetti arrangement of different capacitors, right? The fundamental concept is still that the capacitors in series act as resistors and inductors in parallel, and the capacitors in parallel act as resistors and inductors in series, right? But that one fundamental concept can be sort of twisted and tangled in so many different ways that it can take full 3 minutes or even more than 3 minutes of your time, right? And we have some interesting practice problems to help you prepare for that. Similarly, semiconductor materials. If you are looking at those equations that are given in the reference handbook for the very first time, are not familiar with the units of measurement, are not familiar with those constants. So for example, Doug, you were asking me about the constant for mu, like you were asking me where the value of mu is, right? It's in the reference handbook and it's sort of hidden, right? Similarly, one of the students has previously asked me when he was going through this, Wasim, where is the charge of electron coming from? Now, these are the fine details that we need to pay attention to, and trust me, by the time you're done with the on-demand lectures and the quizzes and the practice exam, the mini exam and the homework assignment and all the explanation, you will be exposed to where everything is, and you would have put essentially all the formulas to good use, right? So It's an easier section. Again, properties of electrical materials. It shows up right up front. So we need to really score points on it in order to set ourselves in a positive state of mind. But at the same time, we cannot be complacent about it. It's not a heavy hitter like one of the big 5 topics, but it is important enough for us to pay enough attention because it forms the building block of a lot of other sections that come down in the pipeline. And if you want to learn more about preparation of FE Electrical and Computer exam and the P-Power exam, then check out these playlists over here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon in the next video.